well, by now, even if you haven't watched it yet, you should be aware that I've uploaded the video from my trip to Newcastle on Saturday. And while I was there, as well as going to the game, I met up with Tawny Steele, which was really exciting. I managed to record a lot more stuff than I included in Saturday's video, and in fact I've saved most of it for this, where I can show you a good chunk of the nice long chat we had.
So where are you at with your barefooting at the moment?
More or less full time. I've got a couple of pairs of fairly loose fitting, comfortable flat boots that I wear in the evenings if the weather's cold, just because my circulation's been terrible this year from spending too much time indoors, and I want to kind of, barefooting for me has got to be about comfort above anything else, so once you stop being comfortable I want it to ease up a bit, but I'd say I'm still sort of 90% barefoot.
Alright, okay. Yeah, it's different in London, I think. It doesn't get as cold as often.
Definitely, yeah. If I lived in the south, it probably would have happened.
So I find I just keep doing it, and the day-to-day temperature is easy enough to keep up with. But,
I think if you're outdoors every day, wherever you are, it's quite easy to keep up, but because this year I've been doing a lot of writing and a lot of spending time on the Xbox, I've been spending up to a week without leaving the house, and when you do that, the temperature changes become a lot more sudden. So this big shift when you go out a week later, and I've just been finding that very hard to keep up with, and because I've not been eating as healthy, my circulation won't have been as good anyway, and it's got to the point where barefooting at night isn't fun anymore, and it was meant to be fun, that's why I started doing it, so I've eased up, but during the day I found I've not had any major problems at all. I'm still able to handle it even when there are big temperature shifts.
I really enjoyed the videos you were putting up, and your particular contribution to the Q&A series that I did, and the other things, and it was a shame they had to get taken down. But,
yeah, just unfortunately when you are female or feminine or are perceived as female on the internet, you deal with a lot of creeps. I think guys do as well, but in different ways, at different intensities.
I don't think I got nearly as many as you did. So.
Yeah, and it was just becoming pretty much a full-time job to keep up with the messages I was getting, a lot of which were very nice. You know, I don't want to make it seem like the foot fetish community are all creeps, they're not by any means. Most of the people I was talking to were very nice, but it was still basically an unpaid second job where I was putting in too much time for something that was just a hobby, and there was a minority that were making it quite stressful. You know, I would look and I got 30 new emails and I would know 2 or 3 of them would be threatening or abusive or just really explicit, and it's like I had to decide whether it was worth it for me to keep in touch with people when it was just getting less fun, and it wasn't in the end.
Oh, great. I want to ask you a bit about your new look, because when I first saw you, I thought, okay, you're a barefooter, but you look the same as everybody else, and I wonder if doing that and sort of getting used to the idea that actually it's okay to be different in that way has been a bit of a gateway, or is this a progression you're going to make anyway?
No, it's always been heading this way. I think I maybe was not as normal as you're remembering. I had hip-length dreadlocks, and I did have quite a few facial piercings. I just haven't stretched any of them yet, but I think I possibly had more facial piercings than I do now. I had my cheeks pierced and possibly eyebrows as well, which I don't have anymore, but I've started stretching my septum, and I've got a couple more lip piercings than I did. I can never remember what I've had when, but no, the plan has been for the last sort of 4 or 5 years, it's always been to be more heavily pierced and more heavily tattooed, so it was always headed that way. And shaving my head was just, it's one of those things that I do sometimes. I did it about 4 years ago as well, so that's not new either.
Can you explain the sort of motivation behind that, or
the head shaving?
Well, everything.
Yeah,
drive that you have to.
Yeah, surely. Piercings, I don't know, like I enjoy sort of the whole process. I don't like pain, but I like sort of the challenge of putting yourself through something quite intense for personal gain. I would hesitate to say a spiritual experience because I'm a very kind of down-to-earth person, but it gives me a more intimate understanding of myself, I think. I think you get to know yourself better through painful experiences, and I like that. And I like the way piercings look. I've always liked them on other people, and I like how they look on me. And also I'm not very good at face recognition, and this is going to sound really silly, but basically I feel like I look like everyone else unless there's something different, because my face recognition skills are awful, and like if I had no piercings, didn't wear any weird makeup, didn't have weird hair, I would look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, you know, that's just any other brunette.
That's interesting. I can certainly understand wanting to look the way that you think is attractive on other people, then certainly go with that. I personally like jeans and t-shirt and bare feet on other people as well, so that's how I look too. It's always nice to sort of meet a well-rounded personality. You meet someone online, okay, they go barefoot too, but there has to be something more to them. And that's quite rare, but you certainly tick all those boxes, and that can be quite frustrating with some of the other people. Oh great, I go barefoot too. Great, I talk to you in a Facebook group. You want to be my friend as well? Okay, what is that to you? You don't even disclose your name.
I would imagine a lot of them, there's more to them in person, but when they're online, they're maybe primarily using it to connect with other barefooters, and they get this kind of hyper focus. I think some people aren't very good at portraying their whole personality online, but there will be some people who are really obsessive about it. And I maybe was a little bit when I first started. I think a lot of new barefooters do kind of get very fixated on it and make their whole identity about being barefoot, and sort of make it a huge issue, and I just kind of got bored of that now, and it's just a part of who I am, and it's not really a particularly big important one or even I think about that often.
I think it's a big thing to get past that point where everyone just accepts that's part of who you are, and then you just get on with being yourself, and you don't have to go on about how proud you are of it or be apologetic about it. Neither of which is particularly helpful.
A lot of the time, like, it's probably a proper cliche thing to say, but I almost forget I'm barefoot, you know? Like now I've started wearing shoes occasionally. I think about it a little bit more because I actually make a conscious decision when I leave the house. Am I going out barefoot, or do I feel like I need shoes today? But more often than not, I'm barefoot, and like it's not something I have to pause and think about for more than half a second. Whereas when I first started going barefoot, every time I stepped out of the house, it was like, this is a whole experience. It's such a big thing, and now it's just like, it's just another clothing option.
I don't even notice the reactions half the time. Although I wonder if they were ever there in the first place. If I just felt them because I was
some of it is insecurity, where every time someone glances at you, you think they're looking at you because I'm barefoot, but realistically people do look at each other when they're like, I've never had like much issue with people's reactions because I've always been quite sort of eye-catching with the way I dress and the way I present myself, and piercings and weird hair and stuff, so it wasn't like a big change. But I think I did get more reactions early on just because I was self-conscious. You know, I was spending a lot of time looking at my feet and walking really carefully while I adjusted, and I think people noticed that. Once you start acting like it's normal because it's become normal to you, then I think people's eyes, I think most people, especially people who are wearing shoes, don't really walk around looking at the ground. You know, we do a little bit because we have to look where we're going.
We look where we're going, and sometimes you just want to see if there's anybody else doing it as well.
I've never spotted another one around here.
No, well, I've not been up here often enough to have done, but I do see a few in London every so often, but sometimes I wonder if it's just some odd circumstance that means they're barefoot at that moment. It's very rare to bump into somebody who's actually going out on a day-to-day basis without shoes.
I have heard apparently there are a couple of people around Newcastle who do. I've never run into them, but I've occasionally had people sort of say to me like, "Oh, have you met the other barefoot guy?" And like, no.
Well, if all the stereotypes are true, there are probably more of them than there are people wearing coats.
Yeah, that's true. I couldn't go out in Newcastle without a coat or a jumper or something on, like not in the winter anyway. But it's amazing how many people.
The last time I was up here was around this time of year again, and I went out. Where did I go? It was a masterclass in composition with David Arnold done by the Musicians Union. Very, very good. Nice to meet him and speak. And afterwards, I got asked for directions by some plumbers. And I thought, well, that's nice. I'm being asked for directions. Everywhere I go, people assume I must be local. And they were all in sleeveless t-shirts. I thought, surely you're more local than I am here.
I don't know how people do it. Like, the first year I lived up here, I heard about some girls who were out on a night out club and getting frostbite in their feet and stuff because they'd gone out wearing like little short dresses and bare legs and strappy shoes. And it's how can you do that? I would not ever dress like that in Newcastle. I mean, I go out barefoot, but like if I'm barefoot in cold weather, I'm wearing leg warmers, leggings, jeans over the top or a long skirt.
Also, there's nothing sort of pressing on your feet the way that strappy shoes would do. So you've got the insulation of the sole that means you're not prepared for the low temperature, but it's still there. You've got pressure on parts of your toe, so you would get frostbite. Whereas if you go barefoot, you're less likely to get frostbite. It's something people wouldn't probably believe if I just said it to them without demonstrating it. But I think actually in the passage from Xenophon I had to study for GCSE Greek, some of his soldiers lost toes, and they were the ones who stepped their sandals on.
It makes sense if your circulation is restricted, then you're not going to be able to keep as much feeling.
Yeah, I think you have to go out of your way to get frostbite though. Most of the time. Even going out in the snow is not suicidal in the way
Yeah,
that I think.
I've not done barefoot in snow yet because last year we didn't get any that settled. So I've done ice. I mean, I've been out on days when it was snowing, but it didn't settle on the ground. So I'm going to see how that goes this winter. Obviously, my circulation's gone quite bad, so probably I won't be able to handle it. But I'm going to give it a fair shot. Just around my garden.
You can always go out for half an hour and give up if it's not right.
That's the thing. I can just go out around the garden, or I can go out with shoes with me. So I've got to fall back on. I definitely want to experiment with it. It's worth giving a try.
Yeah, and I did promise I'd give you a copy of this for being so quick with getting your video footage back last time.
Awesome. And next time you're doing one of those, I will participate. I'm sorry I wasn't able to.
That's quite. You were ill. You were quite badly ill, weren't you?
I was, like bedridden and in and out of doctors like every couple of days. It was bad. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no worries.
So, thanks for Tawny Steele. It's great to have her back on the internet in some form, and hopefully see her again soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, great. Cheers. We'll look up your line. Bye.